Hi everybody, this is Barry Schwartz. This is the news we covered over the past week at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. Today is Friday, May 20th, and a lot of news to cover, so I'll get started right away. First big thing this week was that Bing, who has a deal with Facebook to have use and collect and to use their data for search purposes, has announced that they have deeply integrated their Facebook data into their personalized results at Bing Search. So now if you do a search at Bing and you're logged in and your Facebook account is connected to your Bing account, Bing will automatically use your Facebook data to go ahead and personalize your results based on your friends. So this means, in short, three main things. One is Bing is more likely to show search results that your friends have liked and re-rank those results based on that, which is something that I've been waiting for them to do for a while. Two is they are bringing forth the collective data of all Facebook users to see what those users have liked, and based on that user data, they're going to go ahead and re-rank the results globally for basically a whole Facebook type of thing to see what they like. And also they're integrating the Facebook results in terms of conversation, showing you who liked what, if you're friends with them, letting you click through to see more details on Facebook. That they're calling it the conversation. So that's a big change. You definitely want to take a look at that. It's something that Google does not have access to. Obviously, Google's pushing very hard social search, but at the same time, it's something that Facebook is the king of social, and something that Google doesn't have is Facebook data, and Bing does. So it's pretty interesting. So that's May 17th at seroundtable.com. Other big news is that Bing has now enabled an HTML5 version of their Webmaster Tools. Before, if you ever wanted to get to the data in Bing Webmaster Tools, you had to install Silverlight onto your computer, which nobody really wanted to do, especially SEOs and webmasters who are not really Microsoft friendly. Obviously, Silverlight is a Microsoft property anyway, so now if you go to Bing Webmaster Tools, you no longer need to use Silverlight. You can now just load the results, the data, the very, very good data that Bing provides using HTML5. It's pretty cool. It's very fluid. It's very quick. I definitely recommend you take a look at this. You can get to it at bing.com/webmaster or go to our post on May 19th at seroundtable.com. There was a post earlier this week at Webmaster World discussing how a lot of sites are coming up now with canonical tags to pretty much hack sites. So basically somebody's hacking your website. Instead of injecting links or whatever, they're just sticking on the canonical tag, which basically, canonical tag. Sorry about that. They basically been hacking your site and sticking a canonical tag into your header or body text in order to then trick Google into thinking that you have redirected your website to another site. Which is interesting because then Matt Cutts came in, wrote a blog post saying Google is very, very particular about how they use the canonical tag, especially cross-domain. And if they've been seeing, especially with hacking, if they have any indication or any realization or anything like that, or any hint that it was hacked, they're not going to go ahead and use that canonical tag. So I don't think you have to worry too much about it. But if somebody hacks your website and they're able to stick that canonical tag in the header, in the head element of the source code, then you have to worry about that. So just check your sites, make sure not to leave it prone to hackers, and check it randomly and periodically to make sure that that is okay. Next topic is Pandalized. That's the new word floating around the forums this week or the past couple weeks. Pandalized is basically, obviously, a term off of panda and being penalized. So now people are basically saying, I've been penalized instead of penalized. It's cute. I think I like the term a lot. There was a domain name actually registered a month ago or so, Pandalized.com. It's spelled Panda, Lized. It's pretty cool, .com. Definitely take a look at that. We have more information about that on May 17th at seroundtable.com. Anybody watching live now, you can definitely ask questions in the chat room or just tweet to me at RustyBrick with some questions as I'm going along, and I'll just make sure to incorporate you and your questions. So thank you. Moving on, Google Instant. Google Instant now is available as a preview tool in Google Webmaster Tools. So if you go to Google Webmaster Tools, you log in, then you click on the left-hand side in their labs, there'll be an Instant Previews tab, which basically shows you what Google will see or will think of your site in terms of a a webmaster preview or instant preview. So Google, when you type in URL, it only shows you for your site. You can either do a home root URL or you can do the specific URL on your page. And then it will show you what your site looks like in a web browser versus what your site looks like in an instant preview. And honestly, it's not exactly matching what Google actually shows in the instant previews. And the reasons for that, plus it'll actually give you diagnostics in order to help improve the look of your instant preview. May 19th at SERoundtable.com. Talking about webmaster tools, Google has enabled a way to make it quicker and easier and less painful to go ahead and request a URL removal. So obviously in Google Webmaster Tools you could actually specifically request URL removals or page removals quickly. This was something done in April 2007, but forever you had to actually say, before you did that URL removal, you had to actually put some type of thing in your HTML or your robots.txt file or 404 the page in order to Google to double verify that you actually are the owner of the site. Now Google is removing that restriction, and they're saying, since you verified your website, we no longer don't trust you. We're going to go ahead and let you do the remove URL function without having to actually do a double verification by placing some type of code in the site or 404 on the site. The thing is, these URL removals only last 90 days. If you want them gone forever, you should do a thing by 404 in the page or using the robots.txt file or sticking a no index meta tag in the page itself. Those are all ways to go ahead and take care of that. Link tool. Talking about webmaster tools, the link tool this over last weekend actually had a major issue. It was showing zero data. Google finally fixed it on Monday or so, but to be honest, the data didn't update until last night officially. So now if you go to link tool, it should be fully accurate according to Google. And we reported this on May 17th at SERoundtable.com. Now talking about Google News, a lot of stuff that Google News happened this week. Let's start at the beginning. On May 16th, we reported a feature that nobody spotted. Basically, Google News now had a new setting under the settings option for Google News in the top right to allow you to basically, one is a small thing, is basically automatically refresh the home page of Google News every 15 minutes. But the second thing is to basically say, I want to show blogs or press releases less often or more often. There's a little slider that shows none, never show blogs or no press releases. Fewer, show them fewer than normal. A normal setting, which is what it currently is, and then more, show these blogs or press releases more. This caught on, a lot of people blogged about it afterwards. Did not give me credit, of course, but that was the case. May 16th at SERoundtable.com. Also, in Google News, Google officially announced that they made some major changes to their homepage. That's pretty cool. I actually like the new homepage. Let me bring it up on my screen. The features include, I don't know if you can see my screen here, is basically a little up and down slider, which basically allows you to click and expand. So those no more only the first article on the homepage. Let me bring up the actual news homepage so you can see it. Only the first news article actually has clusters of news items, but if you see the bottom ones do not. So if you click on something, it actually expands and shows you the clusters of news. Plus, it has this little image thing which shows you images as well. And it also has a lot of other things, such as, let me go through the post itself, diversity, so it shows you if it's a death article, opinion, or whatever. It also shows you multimedia, like I just showed you, shows you personalized top stories, and it's one column view has that very clean approach, which I like a lot. So that's the second thing in Google News. We have more about that on May 17th. The third thing about Google News is that they removed the star feature from the homepage. So you can no longer star Google News homepage results to be putting your starred things. But if you do a search, it's still there as of right now. Google removed starred from the web results a while ago, so this is just another step towards that. And finally, a bug which was fixed. Google accidentally removed the search for any language feature in Google News, but is now back, so that's not a problem anymore. Moving on, Google AdWords officially announced something that we've been seeing for a while, where basically they were showing, now, if you do a search for Google or any words in Google, you'll actually now see the URL or the display URL in the top AdWords ad. So the yellow ad above the search results. So if I do a search for AdWords in Google right now, what you'll see is this. What you'll see, and I'll show you my screen right now, is the URL google.com after the title of the URL. Google says it's only going to be in select AdWords, meaning the top yellow ads if they show up, and it should show up now for everybody. So they say it should bring out the ad a little more, and it should show up for most cases unless the title is too long, and then it won't. Talking about AdWords, AdWords now allows those who have My Client Center accounts, the one who manage multiple accounts, the ability to create new AdWords accounts without having an email address or password for those new accounts. Back in the day, when you early this week, basically, you had every time you wanted to create a new AdWords account and you managed multiple AdWords accounts, you had to create a unique email address and password for that new AdWords account. Now you no longer have to do that. You can just basically create a new AdWords account, no email or password necessary. There's more information about this on May 18th at SEOroundtable.com. Google's Define operator has changed forever. Maybe they'll bring it back, I don't know. But basically now if you do a search command, such as define : whatever word it is, so define : miraculous, now Google, instead of taking you to the Google Definitions landing page, it will take you to a search results page with a definition on the top. And if you want, you can then do an extra click to get the Google definition page. But you have to click on the little more link, which is actually probably better for third parties like dictionary.com, answer.com, etc. But it's now taking people to a search result page, which people don't like. They want to be taken, if they do a direct operator for define : directly to the Google dictionary page instead of that. We have more information about that on May 17th. Google Search now has their own search blog. It's at insidesearch.blogspot.com, I believe. Yeah, insidesearch.blogspot.com. And their first post was basically discussing the new search blog and why they're doing this. They basically do not want to post as much about search as they currently do on the Google blog, so they've now made a new search blog specifically devoted to the search topics. The thing is, why did they wait till 2011? And why did they do it back in 2005? The real reason is, back in 2005, Google wanted to specifically be known as a search company, not being distracted by other things like Gmail or phones or internet or cars or whatever it might be. And now that Google's way beyond a search company, they're more lax, I believe, in terms of that theory or that interpretation about the company itself, and they are going ahead and allowing them to break off into a new search blog, which I think is good overall. Google Social Search is now available globally. Google Social Search launched in, I believe, October 2009. Then later on, Google started to expand more features and new social things like Twitter and other social elements. They still don't have Facebook fully, obviously, like I discussed earlier with Bing. But they've now finally expanded it into 19 plus languages, and they're going to be expanding to more languages, so now it's globally available. If you want more information about that, May 20th at SEOroundtable.com. Finally, the Doodle for Google winner was announced yesterday. The Google logo is now specially placed on the Google homepage, the Google US homepage, and it's pretty cool. A 7-year-old named Mato Lopez won with his Space Life logo. You can take a look at that on my screen right now. He won $15,000 for a college scholarship, a netbook, $25,000 technology grant for his school, plus, as most importantly, his logo is on the homepage right now. Other winners, the 3 finalists won $5,000 college scholarships. They include Joseph Miller from North Carolina with his My Galaxy logo. I can't pronounce this, but his first name is Justas. He's from Illinois, 7th grader from Majestic Sea logo. And Hannah Newsom, grade 11, from Arkansas, with this logo illustration. So that pretty much recaps the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz. This is the May 20th Friday edition of the Search Buzz video recap. This is basically news we covered over at the Search Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye.